Hello and welcome everyone. Myself Mijanur Rahaman, and today my topic of discussion is Neuroglia. Today we will discuss about the definition, classification and central neuroglial cells and peripheral neuroglial cells. So let's start with the definition. Neuroglia or glia. Glia means glue. It is the supporting cell of the nervous system. And the neuroglial cells are non-excitable and do not transmit any nerve impulse or action potential. So these cells are also called non-neural cells or glial cells. So what is neuroglia? Neuroglia is a supporting cell which directly not involved in the transmission of nerve impulse or action potential, and it is also a non-excitable cell, and so these cells are called non-neural cells or glial cells. And it is when compared to the number of neurons, the number of glial cells is 10 to 15 times greater, and neuroglial cells play an important role in the reaction of nerve during the infection. And most commonly, neuroglial cells constitute the site of tumors in the nervous system. Now, classification of neuroglial cells. Neuroglial cells are distributed in the central nervous system and as well as the peripheral nervous system, and accordingly the neuroglial cells are also classified into two types. One is central neuroglial cells and one is peripheral neuroglial cells. So first of all, what is central neuroglial cells? Neuroglial cells present in central nervous system are of three types. One is astrocyte, microglia and oligodendrocyte. So astrocyte first. Astrocytes are the star-shaped neuroglial cells which is present in all parts of the brain, and it is two types. One is fibrous astrocyte and one is protoplasmic astrocyte. Let us see the diagram of astrocyte. So this is the diagram of astrocyte which is star shaped, and now let's discuss the fibrous astrocyte. Fibrous astrocytes occupy mainly the white matter, and few fibrous astrocytes are seen in the gray matter also. The processes of these cells cover the nerve cells and the synapses, and this type of astrocytes play an important role in the formation of blood-brain barrier by sending the processes to the blood vessel of brain, particularly the capillaries, forming the tight junction with capillary membrane, and the tight junction in turn forms the blood-brain barrier. Then what is protoplasmic astrocyte? Protoplasmic astrocytes are present mainly in gray matter, and the processes of neuroglia run between the nerve cell bodies. Then functions of astrocytes. Astrocytes first function is twist around the nerve cell and form the supporting network in brain and spinal cord. Number 2, form the blood-brain barrier and thereby regulate the entry of substances from blood into the brain tissue. Then maintain the chemical environment of ECF around the CNS neurons. Then provide calcium and potassium and regulate the neurotransmitter level in synapses. Then regulate recycling of neurotransmitter during the synaptic transmission. So what are the functions of astrocyte? First function is twist around the nerve cells and form the supporting network in the brain and spinal cord. Then formation of blood-brain barrier, which is then regulate the entry of substances from blood into the brain tissue. Then maintenance of the chemical environment of extracellular fluid around the CNS or central nervous system neurons. Number 4, provide calcium and potassium and regulate the neurotransmitter level in synapses and regulate the recycling of neurotransmitter during the synaptic transmission. Then the next cell is microglia. Microglia are the smallest neuroglial cells, and these cells are derived from monocytes and enter the tissues of the nervous system from blood. These phagocytic cells migrate to the site of infection or injury and are often called the macrophages of CNS. Now functions of microglia. Microglia engulf and destroy the microorganisms and cellular debris by means of phagocytosis. Then the second function is migrate to the injured or infected area of CNS and act as miniature macrophages. So this is the diagram of microglia. You can see in the diagram part. Now the oligodendrocytes. Oligodendrocytes are the neuroglial cells which produces myelin sheath around the nerve fibers in the central nervous system. And oligodendrocytes are also called oligodendroglia. And oligodendrocytes have only few processes which are short. Now, functions of oligodendrocytes. Oligodendrocytes provide myelination around the nerve fibers in the central nervous system, whereas Schwann cells are absent. Then provide support to the central nervous system neurons by forming a semi-stiff connective tissue between the neurons. You can see the diagram also. Now, peripheral neuroglial cells. Neuroglial cells in peripheral nervous systems are of two types. One is Schwann cell and number two is satellite cell. So Schwann cells are the major glial cells in peripheral nervous system. What is the function of Schwann cell? Schwann cell provide myelination or insulation around the nerve fibers in peripheral nervous system. Number two, play an important role in nerve regeneration and remove the debris during regeneration by their phagocytic activity. Then satellite cells. Satellite cells are the glial cells present on the exterior surface of PNS neuron, and function of satellite cells are: satellite cell provide physical support to peripheral nervous system neurons, and it helps in the regulation of chemical environment of a extracellular fluid around the PNS neurons. So if we summarize today's topic, today what we have discussed, first of all we have discussed about the definition of neuroglia. Neuroglia is the supporting cell of nervous system, and neuroglia are non-excitable and do not transmit any nerve impulse. So these cells are also called non-neural cells or glial cells. Then we come to know the number of these cells. The glial cells are 10 to 15 times greater than the neurons. Then we have classified the neuroglial cells. One is central neuroglial cells, one is peripheral neuroglial cells. Now central neuroglial cells are of three types. One is astrocytes, one is microglia, and one is oligodendrocytes. Then we have discussed about the astrocytes. Astrocytes are the star-shaped neuroglial cells present in all parts of the brain, and two types of astrocytes are found in the human brain. One is fibrous astrocyte and one is protoplasmic astrocyte. Then fibrous astrocyte present in the white matter. Sometimes it may also be present in the gray matter, and it forms the blood-brain barrier. Then protoplasmic astrocyte, it is mainly present in the gray matter, and the process of neuroglia run between the nerves of cell bodies. Now we have discussed about the function of astrocyte. One is supporting network, one is blood-brain barrier formation, one is maintenance of chemical environment of ECF, then provide calcium and potassium and regulate the neurotransmitter level in synapse, then recycling of neurotransmitter. Then we have discussed about the microglia, which is the macrophages of CNS, and these cells are phagocytic cells, and functions are engulfing and destroying the microorganisms and cellular debris by means of phagocytosis, and the migrate to the injured or the infected area of CNS and act as miniature macrophages. Then we have discussed about the oligodendrocytes. Oligodendrocytes mainly provide myelination to the CNS nerve fibers, and it provides also support to the CNS neuron. Now we have discussed about the peripheral neuroglial cells, which is of two types. One is Schwann cell and one is satellite cell. Schwann cells are the major glial cells present in PNS. Function is providing myelination or insulation to the PNS nerve fibers, and they play an important role in nerve regeneration and removing the cellular debris during regeneration by their phagocytic activity. Then satellite cells. Satellite cells are the glial cells present on the exterior surface of PNS neurons, and function is to provide physical support to the PNS neurons and helping in the regulation of chemical environment of extracellular fluid around the PNS neurons. So this is our today's topic. Thank you so much for watching the entire video. Do like, share and subscribe to my channel for supporting me and my channel. Thank you so much for watching.